Hey y'all, I'm going to do a quick review of my favorite knife of all time. This is the Vicktorinox A-Lox Farmer. There's a whole bunch of different reasons why this is my favorite knife, and I'll get into them here in a second. And we'll start on the outside and work our way in as far as, scales and the tools and things like that. I've had this knife for close to a year now, and over that time it has definitely taken the top place as far as what I carry and what I like, and it's basically the benchmark for what I look for in a pocket knife now. I'm a super big fan of Vicktorinox because of this knife. Before then, I had some different Swiss Army knife knockoffs, and the tools on them are definitely lackluster. They were dull, or they didn't have much spring tension, or they would break, and it's just were nothing compared to the Vicktorinox brand. But yeah, my first Vicktorinox was this knife, the Farmer, and I got it last year, so it's been close to a year that I've been carrying it. But anyway, some of the reasons why I like this knife. Number one reason is I like a carry knife that is not too expensive. This knife on eBay, not eBay, but Amazon, is $38 and some change. And I think it's important when you carry a knife, because if you carry a knife that's too expensive, you're not really going to want to use it for certain jobs that are going to, potentially damage it. And also, you may not carry it as much. I mean, who wants to carry around a $200 knife and risk the chance of losing it? I lose knives all the time. So having a knife that is in that price range, below $50, $60, to me, I'm comfortable carrying that around all day long, every day. So to me, that's a big seller right there as far as being the best and my favorite knife to carry. Well, let's get into the knife. This is their A-Lox version. It's got the silver A-Lox scales on it. It's basically a aluminum scales. It's got nice texturing on it. It gives a good grip. You can grip this thing really easy with the texturing on there. I love it. It's just got a good feel to it. Working our way on the inside of the knife, another huge reason why I like this knife so much is, a pocket knife is a tool, and tools are made for specific jobs. Knives are made for cutting. That's what they do. That's what they do well. They don't work well as a hammer. They don't work well as a pair of pliers or scissors. They're made specifically for cutting. Well, this pocket knife has multiple specific tool functions that will function in specific roles really well. Well, for instance, the first tool we're going to look here is the can opener. I mean, if you've ever tried to open a can without a can opener, you know how difficult it is. It's almost impossible. It can be done, but it's tough for sure. This is a nice. This can opener's got a nice spring tension to it, so it stays open. It's got a nice sharp edge to it, good sharp edge to it, and it works really well as a can opener. It got that function, and it does it really well. At the end of this tool, it's got a flathead screwdriver, the small kind. So you need to work on any kind of little screw projects. I put together all kind of toys and stuff for my little girls, and come into running and have to use a screwdriver all the time, during the day. So that is very, very helpful. I love the fact that it's got a screwdriver on the end of this can opener. The other tool we have here is a big flathead screwdriver slash potential prying utensil there, and it's a can opener, not a can opener, a bottle lifter, and then a wire stripper. If you've ever tried to open a bottle without a bottle opener, you know how tough that is as well. It's a specific tool for a specific job, and when you need it, you need that specific tool, or otherwise it's just going to be a headache having to do the task. You can open a bottle, using your blade, but then again, you're gonna have to mar up your blade, and it's just more difficult. You might actually hurt yourself doing it. So there's another reason to make sure you have a bottle opener on your hands. Probably one of the most you'll use tools on this knife for me is the saw. Vicktorinox has an excellent saw. Came out of the box very sharp, and you'd be surprised how often you'd use this, just around the house. I live on a farm. I do a lot of yard work, a lot of fencing, and there's always something that just needs just a little fine tuning to get it to where you need it. There's always a limb. There's, I've worked on construction projects, on houses and such. And when you cut big pieces of plywood, there's always, if you want to make your cut perfectly square, there's always just a little piece of wood that doesn't get cut because, your saw blades are round. So there's just a tiny piece of wood that's still there. And this is perfect for going in there and just squaring that off, So excellent blade. This has gotten a little bit dull over a year, but I tell you what, it's still functioning just fine, Also, the back edge of this knife, not the knife, but the saw blade, works really well for scraping things. It's got a nice edge to it. It's not rounded off. It's nice and pronounced, so you can use it to strike things or scrape things. It works really well for that. All right, on to the main blade. I believe this blade, or probably all the tools, are some sort of, I believe it's a surgical steel, some kind of proprietary stainless steel of Vicktorinox. And I like it. It doesn't hold an edge really well, but I've also found over the years that your top-notch, steels like S30V and your super hard steels, even D2, they're super hard to sharpen. I've got a S30V blade on one of my knives, a Benchmade, and sharpening it is literally a nightmare. You don't want to do it. It just takes forever, and you have to make sure you get your angles just right, and if you mess up, then you got to start over, and it takes forever, even longer. So, yeah, I like this because a few licks on your sharpener, you're back in business. You can go back to work. Great blade. It's got I believe it's a spear point blade, so it's kind of a nice all-around type blade. Probably not great at specifically one thing, but it's a jack of all trades blade. You can do pretty much everything decent. Last tool on here, I never thought I would fall in love with. When I was looking at this knife, I thought, well, I don't really need an awl, but after using this knife, this tool is probably, next to the saw blade and the knife blade, it's definitely one of the most used as well. I know I was saying that about all these tools, but I really do use them all. This awl has a very sharp point to it. It's very sharp, and it has stayed sharp over a year, and I've used this thing for everything. I've used this. This thing works perfect, and you probably wouldn't think this, for scoring plexiglass. You lay down a piece of wood or something to guide your awl there, and you can just scrape along that plexiglass and snap it in half. So it works perfect for scoring, things like that. Working out splinters, I can't tell you how many hundreds of splinters I've worked out with that super sharp tip. It's got a nice single edge type of, it's not really a blade, but you know what I'm saying, a grind there. So it's a really good scraper. It's nice and sharp, nice and pronounced. This would work well as scraping. But yeah, that's a great tool, and I look for that on all the knives, or all my Swiss Army knives that I'm planning on getting in the future. I want them to have an awl. I couldn't believe it because I thought it was one of those useless tools. But no, sure enough, use it a lot. Well, I guess that brings us towards, we're about to the end of the video. We've gone through all of our tools here. The last part is it does have a lanyard. I'm a lanyard guy when it comes to my pocket knives. This has a nice little key ring type deal towards the end of it. So it just sits nice and snug in your pocket. You can grab it and right out it comes. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate y'all watching. I definitely plan on doing a lot more Vicktorinox and Swiss Army knife videos in the future, because I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan. It just basically, it fills that utilitarian niche so well that I don't hardly ever go a day without them. This is what I look for in my pocket every day. When I'm going through what I'm going to carry that day, this is at the top of the list. All right, guys, I appreciate you. We'll see you later.